Broad topics, broad minds, broad hosts, but not just for broads. This is Broadscast with Kim Goldman and Jackie McDougall.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Broadscast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for coming in, co-host Kim Goldman.
Yeah, hi, Jackie McDougall.
So it's September 11th, 2015. I almost said 19-something.
I said 2007 yesterday, so we're good.
Yeah, I have myself convinced I'm 33, but that's okay. So it's 9/11, as you know, unless you're living under a rock.
Right.
And, we're acknowledging and commemorating the Twin Towers and all of the people who've lost their lives today.
Yeah. Just on that comment, I was talking to my son this morning on his way to school, and I said, today is, and he said 9/11, and I said, you know what it means, because we always have that talk, and he said, yeah, it's about the Twin Towers, and I said, and he said, and the Pentagon, and I said, and he said, and the plane that went down, like, he knew everything.
Wow.
And,
Good.
Well, I think we forget. I mean, Twin Towers
that's
is
the
just
only one, because it's like this big visual.
Right. And my heart breaks for the families of the other crashes and the other trauma too. So
And the heroes on Flight 93.
Yeah,
that one. But speaking of heroes, today's episode is honoring those everyday heroes, people who maybe walked out the door in the morning and didn't really think that they would have an opportunity to save lives or make a difference. And, which happens every single day. And
Yeah.
there are heroes among us all the time that are many of whom are never acknowledged.
And I would say true heroes. I think that word gets thrown around so cavalierly that I certainly feel very strongly that a hero is someone that sacrifices of themselves and does noble acts, and it's not just someone that managed to get to a job interview on time. Because they raced through the freeway.
Right,
system,
and I was reading on BuzzFeed. It was an article that was written last year. The sister of somebody who was killed in the Twin Towers, and their family was quick to say that their daughter and sister wasn't a hero. She was at work early, and it was the people who ran into the building that they find to be the real heroes.
Yeah.
But later in the show, we're going to speak not only to a hero, Scarlett Lewis, but the mom of a hero,
Jesse Lewis.
Jesse, who was in
6-year-old.
Newtown, 6-year-old boy in the Sandy Hook shooting, who, while the shooter was reloading, yelled for the other kids to run.
After he watched his teachers get shot. So,
I mean,
horrible.
for him to be able to just
Have the
step
wherewithal,
up and have
yeah.
that and save how many lives, we have no idea. I mean, I don't. Maybe you do. I don't know how many children had run at that point and actually been saved before he was shot. So we're going to talk to his mom, who's carrying on his legacy.
Yes, Scarlett.
Yes, and later on we'll also hear someone who's in their everyday life honoring heroes. So you'll have to stay tuned for that.
I'm gonna.
Are you?
I'm gonna
stick
stay
around.
tuned. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
So let's move on to somebody who's not a hero for a second.
On a lighter note.
Yeah. Right.
Good segue.
Well, actually, before we do that, someone else who's a hero. I missed one for a second.
Oh, you missed?
I got a little distracted. But an update on a previous story.
Christy O'Donnell,
who was here and a few episodes back or a couple months ago, talking about the right to die and her fight to make that okay in California.
Right, because she's dying. She's terminal cancer, and she wants to die with dignity. And currently, at that time, state of California didn't allow you to do that.
Right, and she's been fighting for this for herself, but also to leave a legacy for others in the future.
Right.
And just the other day,
California Assembly passed. It does still sit with the governor, but it has passed in the Assembly, giving terminally ill patients the right to die with dignity. With medical assistance, under the doctor's care.
Right.
But,
right.
Yeah. So that's pretty fantastic.
That's
very emotional.
That's
and
amazing.
We posted something, and I, to comment on that, and I was really torn because I didn't want to say congratulations because that doesn't seem right. But
right.
There is an element of pride that I can't imagine Chrissy doesn't feel as bittersweet as that is.
Right. And
yeah.
it's, I don't think anybody really wins necessarily,
Right.
but at the same time to be able to, we're not in her shoes. And so I can't, when you die from terminal brain cancer, it's not graceful. There are seizures. There are, loss of bodily function. It's just, so for her to fight for that for others, you don't have to take that option.
Right.
If you are terminally ill, it's just there.
Right.
And there, on a side note, our own local assembly members voted against it. So,
I did not know that.
I was reading that this morning. So, and a lot of people are congratulating them for voting against it.
Yeah,
and
I just don't understand it. Like you said, you don't have to do it. It's just an option.
Right.
Just like going to the Ford dealership is an option versus, Toyota. Like, you don't have to go if you don't want to. Just turn it off,
Or
go the other way,
yeah.
or don't participate.
Well, speaking of, that's a great segue because
look at me.
the woman pulled off a YouTube for her. She's supposedly a comedian. Okay, so
Right.
I should use my air quotes because she did a video called "Dear Fat People," and she went on and pretty much gave them a hard time for putting things in their mouth that they shouldn't and getting, exercising. And she's trying to be funny. It's visually stimulating, one woman on camera YouTube video. And YouTube pulled it off.
Right.
Like pulled it down. And, people said she was fat shaming and this and that. Now, I think the biggest problem with her video is that it's not funny. And so if to call yourself a comedian, you should probably attempt to actually
And it was
be funny.
really long.
It was so long. So, someone needs to give her YouTube 101, first of all. But secondly, I don't know how I feel with Donald Trump talking about, our presidential candidate talking about Mexicans as, who come to the U.S. as being rapists and low-life scum and this and that, and other people who say things that are so absolutely offensive, like, this is what we're choosing?
Yeah.
It just seems strange to me.
Is it the stereotyping that she did, or is it the fact that she was, what was unfortunate, listen, I don't get offended that easily. And I wasn't in the beginning. I'm like, and then I'm like, oh god, this is going on a little too long. And now it's really negative. I didn't realize that my son was listening. I thought he had his headphones on, and he even said something. But I didn't know if it was the stereotyping, if it was just the unnecessary element of it, and the fact that she was trying, I think, to talk about the health component got so buried. And I don't even know if that was legit.
She's not a doctor, too.
I don't know what the purpose behind it was. I don't understand the purpose behind it.
She got to get attention.
Yeah.
She wanted people to see her, and that worked because you can still find that video other places, and including on our Facebook page. But now we're pulling stuff off because she's body shaming. Here's the deal. I'm not going to go and say things that, fat people and make some big generalization because every single person has their own story. But why wouldn't you just let the people defend themselves or let people know what they think of her video?
Well, and I also think that on top of that, who's making those decisions at YouTube? Because there are plenty of videos on YouTube that are really disgusting and violent and promoting violence amongst kids, and the bystander component of people beating the crap out of each other, and no one that stuff is all still there.
Yes.
So I don't understand.
Exactly. That's exactly my point. It's why are we choosing this? Because it's popular. And so YouTube can also make some sort of political statement.
Right.
Look at, where does it stop and where does it begin? It just seems so baffling to me.
So do you think it's censorship? Or do you just think it's...
Well, it's not necessarily... I don't know. It's a private site.
Right.
They can make their choices.
Right. I don't know. I guess I go back to what I said before. Choose to watch, choose not to watch, choose to combat what she said and have smart arguments, like the woman, I'm forgetting her name right now, that did the video as a response to the Dear Fat People video. I'm totally forgetting her name right now. And she was very emotional for her, and she talked a lot about being on YouTube and how it's therapeutic for her and how she uses that venue to share and educate and expose and to teach, and I think that's really healthy. Now, are we going to pull that down because it's opposite of what somebody else? I just don't. When does it end? Where
doesn't
you're at?
Westboro Baptist or what are they called? Don't they have videos?
Yeah. It's ridiculous what you can find on YouTube.
Exactly. So on the other side of that, there's a dad.
Segue.
We are we're going to start driving a Segway. See what I did there?
You did.
That's like a double segue. Ish. Anyway, there's a dad going viral.
Yeah, and he's hot too.
Right?
Yeah.
Because he...
I only looked him up to see if he was available. And then I was like, oh, that's kind of a fun video.
Yeah, he's cute. Okay, so his son got 2 birthday gifts that were the same, so he brought him back to the store to exchange, and the kid chose a Little Mermaid, like Barbie-ish type doll. And so the dad was like, "This is what he chose, and how should dads react?" And the kid's like, "Yeah," it was super cute.
So cute.
And the guy is hot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true. So I think that is certainly part of it. Like if dad were like a couch potato, eating Doritos, that maybe it wouldn't be as
the bod dad, if he had the dad bod.
The dad bod?
Yeah. He's not.
But this guy is very attractive. So anyway, his video is being shared everywhere. And, he's being seen as, like you were saying, like that loosely labeled hero for embracing. Now, I don't know.
You think it's too much?
No, because I think...
I did. I loved the video, but I'm like, really? This is... like... I guess I don't know if it's because the dad supported it that people were so committed. I mean,
I think so.
And then there were people that said, "I do this all the time. I just didn't videotape it."
Right. Well, the thing is, he did not share it everywhere. Other people did. So he just shared a video to make his point.
Right. He's also a film.
Yes. He knows what he's doing.
Right. And mind you, I looked him up. He has an awesome company called Elevate, and they do great work about humanity.
We don't have a restraining order, do we?
No, I just mean because
everyone knows,
I'm curious. I'm always curious as to about what. I'm always curious as to the motivation behind things.
Right.
And so I looked deeper into it, and he has a company that promotes, human kindness and community, and so it seems like he's trying to be a do-gooder. So I'm sure there was some motivation behind it.
There's always motivation behind it.
Because there was a follow-up video to it that was highly produced.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, a lot of people do struggle with letting go of gender norms. I mean, this has been my own story, with my daughter who now has a purple mohawk.
Yeah.
Or faux hawk. But it took me a long time. And we go into stores, and even just at Trader Joe's the other day, and the guy was like, "Hey, dude, you want the lollipop?" Every day. No, I mean, not every day, but every time we are in public, somebody refers to... The other day I was at a birthday party, and someone said, "What's it like to have 3 boys?" And I said, "I don't know. I have 2 boys and a girl." I normally don't say anything because she's actually requested I not say anything.
Right.
She's got earrings, and she's adorable, but she's got this hair, and she... is 8, so there's not, and especially when she wears like a uniform to school, she looks like everybody else.
Right.
So you just, and that's fine. It used to bother me a lot, and now I don't know when it just stopped, and it's a process for every parent. So it's great that dad is like, "Hey, Little Mermaid," is he exploiting his son? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I guess there's a part of me that feels like in the wake of so much horror and despair and darkness that we experience on a daily basis, that it was kind of fun to see something playful, something progressive, something that we should be doing. I love the comment that he made about no matter what your choice is, I'm going to love you. I wish that more people, my stomach is gurgling, excuse me. I wish more people were willing to be outspoken about that. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I kind of like the tongue-in-cheek. Listen, you posted something, I forget exactly what it was, but you had such great response to it because you just wanted to highlight something that was amazing in your life. And I think we forget to do that, and we forget. And I kind of like when people get excited over that and they share it and they talk about it. Because
and that's, and
I'd rather see that than, videos of people beating the crap out of each other that we're so willing to share too.
And if there are other dads who are worried about it, it's great to kind of like, it's a little sign like, "Hey, bud, got your back. Like, let's do this." But, like I said, it's a process for a lot of parents, and not everybody gets there as quickly maybe as that guy.
Right.
It took me a while because I've always wanted a daughter, and I walk around and people call her dude or him or, and ultimately it's her life.
So when you watched the video, what did you take from it?
I was happy that a dad, because often, not in the case in my house, because my husband is...
But why just a dad? You're struggling with it as a mom. I'm
not struggling with, I was, but I think that dads, even more so sometimes, get, this is a generalization, get wrapped up in what it's supposed to look like.
Right.
Because they're also raised in a way that girls aren't always, that this is how it's supposed to look. Don't cry, man up, all that stuff.
Right.
So it's not necessarily the dad's fault that he feels this way because it's kind of ingrained in him
Right.
until he starts to open up. So it may be a process. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Some people are just born that way and they're raised that way. And I hope to raise, my kids that way, that they're open and they don't have to necessarily process it.
Right.
But, give people a break, too. It's like, oh, my God, Peter. I looked over at her.
So, Peter, what do you think? Did you see, the video that we're talking about?
Did you see the dad?
You didn't notice the hot
Come on
guy,
in.
probably. But
Peter was making funny faces. That's why I was laughing.
did not see this video.
So yes, it's
Okay.
He just, the long and short of it is his son wanted a
5 years old, I
Little
think.
Mermaid
Yeah.
doll, and the dad was like, "Hey, I love you anyway. I love you."
Well, he first made the comment.
What.
He's like, "How I don't know how I felt. Like this was a shock when my kid wanted a Barbie." And then he kind of made a face like, "Oh, what do I do?" And then he said, "I'm going to love you anyway." And the kid was screaming and excited. So
That's good. I can only hope that my parents would do the same for me if I wanted mermaid dolls as a kid.
Right.
I always wanted Spider-Man toys as a kid, but it reminds me of a day, I guess my first sleepover was this kid named Michael. I don't know how old I was, but he was right under I was second story, he was first story, and he had nothing but Barbie dolls.
Oh.
And I remember this a little bit as a kid because I cried. I wanted to go home because he didn't have any. He didn't have any of my
anything
toys.
you liked.
Anything I liked at all. But we were still friends, and one day, I guess, both of our parents decided, why don't you just bring your toys over and they can be together.
Oh,
there you go.
So there.
It was, at first, it was the worst thing ever. Your kid goes over to his first sleepover. He's there for 10 minutes. Wah, 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 I want to go home. I hate it here. The next day, a very good, I don't know, when you guys are talking about this story, it reminded me, set me right back.
Yeah.
So obviously your parents did have the understanding and the acceptance, and they knew. I mean, I think it's really hard. No matter what, you have an idea of what it's supposed to look like based on who knows what. I mean, I had similar expectations of what my marriage and my home life and my kid, like, I don't know where that comes from, but it's in there.
Yeah.
And then when it doesn't exactly look like what you dreamt it to be, you have to adjust. And some people, like you said, have a harder time adjusting than others. But
yeah. I mean, I think that life has been a series of, this is the way it's going to be. Ha-ha, no, it's not. I mean, so at some point, you just have to kind of, what's the word there? Like, resolve or give in to the unexpected.
Yeah.
I mean, again, though, it's a process. I'm just happy to be at a better side of my particular process. And now I get to do cool mohawks. All right, so next week, before we go into break and then to our guests, next week, have you seen the viral video where it's to the song I Can't Feel My Face, and it's about the mom who, is getting the kids back to school.
What is she say? I can't get my space, or give me my space?
Yeah, I can't until you're back at school.
Yeah.
I totally butchered that, but and I love it. Yeah, so it's going. It's everywhere. And
did you know that song was about drugs? I Can't Feel My Face.
I had I don't know.
I don't know if it is.
We had
Someone said
this
it's about
debate.
drugs.
We actually had this debate at work.
Yeah.
At Fab Life, which premieres next.
Oh,
Monday.
were you the one that put it up? Yeah.
But it's I Can't Feel My Face is actually a reference to drugs.
Oh.
But another one.
Love.
Well, that's.
I thought it was because you're smiling so much. That's what I thought. This is how lame I'm so disconnected.
I thought it was just love.
But here's the other thing, that maybe their love is so intense though that it feels like drugs. I mean, it's I don't know. Got to listen to it. But anyway, this viral video is a much better version and something you could probably play in front of.
We need to challenge it. We need to do one of those.
What?
We do a parody.
Oh, we totally.
We should have our listeners.
Remember, we were going to do the iCarly parody.
Oh my God, we should still. Oh, and our car's off the air.
Yeah,
no,
we'll do something else though.
Yeah.
But she's going to be on next week
Awesome.
in studio.
Woo!
Jess, who
maybe she'll sing for us.
Yeah, and her YouTube page, I don't know how to say it. I only see it. It's like Shuggy Lipo or something.
Oh.
Lipo. Yeah. Well, anyway.
Well, she'll clarify.
SHUGIL.
All right, so we're going to go to break, and after we come back, we're going to have a friend of mine, Scarlett Lewis, who's the mom of Jesse Lewis, who lost his life in 2012. And we hope you stay tuned right here on Broadscast.
When Broadscast was looking to relaunch our website, we knew exactly who to call, the team at Stark Social Media.
At Stark Social, they understand the importance of a strong online presence.
From marketing and branding, web design, and social media, the in-house team listens to their clients' needs and budget and responds with a tailor-made plan for your small business, nonprofit, or startup.
Stark Social's philosophy is simple: do good work, and they live by that philosophy every day.
Stand out from the competition and contact Stark Social Media today at starksocial.com.
You're listening to Broadscast with Kim Goldman and Jackie McDougall. Two broads with faces made for radio.
Back to Broadscast. Welcome back.
Hi, we're here.
We're here.
We stayed. I have had the pleasure, so it is not news. Well, maybe it's news. I have a book coming out.
Yes, you do.
I do.
September 22nd.
Thank you. Called Media Circus. And I had the good fortune and honor to interview 10 families that were involved in high-profile cases and talk about how what it was like to live their private tragedy in the public eye. And the very first woman that I spoke to was Scarlett Lewis, and she's joining us today.
Good morning, Scarlett.
Hi, Scarlett.
Hi, Kim. How are you?
Good. How are you? Jackie's with us too today. So,
Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Scarlett. Nice to meet you.
So, thank you for rearranging. You're so good. You're always so good to respond to my emails. I always feel like I'm bugging you, but it's been such it's been such a pleasure to get to know you the last year plus, outside of what we all think we know of you when we watched what happened, obviously, in December of 2012. So I just thank you. Our show today is about everyday heroes and the people that, like Jackie said earlier in the show, that just wake up one day and make a difference. And sometimes, like with Jesse, with my brother, it was the sacrificing of their own life to help save others. And so, you were the first person that I thought of when Jackie and I were talking about who we wanted to have on today's show. So thank you for being available so that we could honor you and Jesse, of course.
Thank you very much for having me.
So Jesse was just 6 years old, in Sandy Hook Elementary, and I've been reading so much about him just over the past few days to kind of refresh. And, in the face of something unimaginable, his first reaction was to tell kids to run. And
It's really amazing if you think about it.
and even before that, it sounds like he just had this spirit of, what had he written down? Nurturing, healing, love. Before that event.
Right. He wrote those 3 words on our kitchen chalkboard shortly before he died. And, those words aren't in the vernacular of a 6-year-old. It's not something a 6-year-old would normally say.
Right.
They were phonetically spelled because he was just in first grade learning to write. But those 3 words we found are in the definition of compassion across all cultures. And upon a little bit further research, we broke down the meaning of each of those 3 words. Nurturing means loving kindness and gratitude. Healing literally means forgiveness. And love is compassion in action. When you practice those 3 character values in that order, you're choosing love. And so I felt like when I saw that message shortly after he had died, actually when I came home to get his clothes for the funeral is when I first saw it, I just felt like literally he had passed a torch to me. It was like, Mom, this is what the world needs more of. And if the man who shot me had this in his life, at home and at school, this wouldn't have happened. And so take this message and bring it to the world. And so this is what I've dedicated my life to for the past 2 3/4 years since he was murdered.
And that was the reason why you started the Jesse Lewis Choose Love Foundation, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I asked myself the same 2 questions that everyone did. How could something like this possibly have happened? And what can I do personally to make sure that it doesn't happen again? And for me, I feel like our children aren't as connected as they used to be, and we're not really teaching tools of resilience and emotional intelligence in school, and I feel like that's so important. So that's what I've been promoting.
And how do you do that? How do you promote that emotional intelligence? And what are some of the tips you would have for parents to create that?
Well, I've been taking kind of a bottom-up, top-down approach. The Jessie Lewis Choose Love Foundation has actually developed just the social emotional learning programs written by teachers for teachers. We're about ready to release pre-K through 5, and we're developing the rest. These are just based on Jessie's message and the core foundational concepts of social emotional learning. These are going to be free and online, so please, everybody who's interested, check in with us. And I think that, there's lots of social emotional learning programs out there. Some of them are relatively expensive. Personally, I've been working also in my top-down approach with the executive branch, and I introduced the Jessie Lewis Empowering Educators Act into the U.S. Senate in April.
Wow.
A lot of the language in our bill has been woven into the Every Child Achieves Act. And so that actually, we were successful in getting a portion of existing funding to be used to teach principals and teachers social emotional learning concepts during professional development days. It's a small but important step, and also successful in getting non-academic learning to be put into the bill, a definition of that. So it's just kind of, I'm advancing on all levels, and I really think that it's important as parents that we take a more active role than we have in our child's education. I mean, I remember I'm a single mom, 2 boys in school, and I went out, I earned a living, I came home, and I cooked and cleaned for my boys. We had fun, and I kind of figured, the school is taking care of things on their end. I'll take care of things on my end. Together we'll make a good team. But it turns out that I think parents need to take a little bit more active role in what's going on in their school. Ask those questions. Ask about school safety and what the protocol is. Be familiar with it. Have your kids be familiar with it. Ask about whether the school offers social and emotional learning. It's such an important part of your child's education.
Right.
And there are over 30 years of research showing incredible across-the-board benefits. In fact, there's no evidence other than what is supporting social emotional learning. Make sure that your kids are getting that, and if they're not, figure out a way to incorporate it into your school. Check out our website and have them download our free programs as soon as they're ready. And I just think I wish that I had taken a more active role now in hindsight, and I am moving forward.
So Scarlett, it's such a progressive movement, although it doesn't sound like it should be this progressive.
Right.
But what's have people been resistant to what you're doing? Do they feel like it's not the school's responsibility? Is it a funding thing? I mean, why is there people that are trying to block what you're doing?
You know what? There's been no resistance, and I think that's one of the things in the very beginning. I mean, I was in such shock, and obviously terrible mourning, and I knew that I couldn't be against something. I knew I had to do something to help make this a better world, and to turn the tragedy into something that helps that process. But I knew I couldn't come out and be against something. I wanted to be for something. And being for choosing love has really turned out to be a good idea, because nobody said, gee, that's a stupid idea.
Right. And I bet in some ways people are like, why didn't I think of this?
That's usually, this is where the victims movement starts from. It's usually from people that have been traumatized and that have been impacted, that you realize where there are holes and where our system fails and where it breaks down and where need is. This is why when we talked about wanting to have Scarlett, she is paving the way for something that seems so logical, but until Scarlett was, facing it firsthand, probably didn't realize it.
Well, Scarlett, here's my question. You and Kim both have experienced these tragedies in the public eye, and there are so many families who maybe aren't necessarily, publicized and their pain and their tragedy. I think a lot of them also get stuck when they're in this, after, and they want to do something with it, but they're still in mourning and they're still in so much pain. Like, how do you go from one to the other? Because I think there's a lot of guilt there with some people who suffer tragedies or loss, and they're not there. They don't have a platform. They're not ready. They don't know what to do. Like, do you have any advice for them?
I think that every journey is different, and I know for myself, right away, I made a decision to forgive the shooter in our case, and I was able to do that by understanding that somebody who could do something so heinous must have been in a tremendous amount of pain. And so in doing a little bit of research into Adam Lanza's background, it turns out that he really did fall through the cracks. He actually was crying out for help, as a child does, not raising his hand in class and saying, I think I need to see a psychiatrist. But, he had written a book called The Book of Granny, where a grandmother came into the Sandy Hook Elementary where he was going to school at the time, and her broomstick opened into a semi-automatic weapon, and she murdered children. I mean, that right there is a cry for help. And he never got the help that he needed and that he desperately, obviously, wanted. And so in that way, I could feel compassion for him, and I could forgive him. And I think that was a really big step for me in my resilience and being able to kind of move forward in a positive way afterwards. And that is not to say that I am not still deeply grieving, because I am. I cry every day, several times a day. But I'm able to kind of take a deep breath. Sometimes I have to forgive again, and then just move forward, honoring Jesse's legacy, honoring the courage that he showed in the classroom when he stood up to the shooter and was instrumental in saving 9 of his classmates' lives.
Wow.
That courage is something that we all have within us. It's that courage to be kind, the courage to do for others, and we all have that. And so honoring that space inside of us, and I think when we're aware of that, we can more easily access that, and that's what it takes on a day-to-day basis, especially having been through what Kim and I have been through. It's just sheer courage every day to get up and move forward.
And when we first met, Scarlett and I were talking, and I people ask me the same question, Jackie, that you asked of Scarlett, and I always answered, like, I sort of feel like whatever I endure on a daily basis doesn't come close to what my brother or Jesse experienced in those last seconds. And so, it does take a tremendous amount of courage, but it also just takes patience and, kindness. Like, I give myself permission to some days just not want to fight the fight, like, not want to, do things that are going to move the movement forward. Some days I'm just pooped. Some days I just need to take care of myself. And, I think, to answer your question, I've talked to a lot of victims too, that, sometimes you don't have to, just getting up every day is a feat in and of itself. You don't always have to have a platform or a mission or a bill that you want passed. I mean, that's okay too. It doesn't, what Scarlett's doing with her cause is incredible and so needed. Not everybody, it doesn't appear that way for everybody all the time.
Right. Scarlett, I want to ask you and Kim both, though, does it make it that much more difficult, the fact that everybody feels they have their story? You have such a personal loss, and, the rest of us watching something on the news or, knowing where we were when we heard, or, both with, Kim's brother and with Jesse, I'm sure that you received the same type of people letting you know how they felt, how it affected their lives when they weren't necessarily personally affected. Like, is that healing for you that other people understand your pain, or is it really irritating?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I think that I've gotten a lot more understanding of how a national trauma impacts other people, because what happens with trauma is that when we experience it and we don't deal with it, then we layer it. So it basically gets buried in our brain. Then we experience another trauma, and then that layers over the existing trauma. And then when a big trauma comes, it kind of unfolds like a blooming onion. And then we have an issue. And it doesn't have to be a trauma that happened to us.
Right.
So that's why right now, there are a lot of people in Newtown that didn't even have kids in the school, but they're now having to face traumas that happened earlier on in their life because this is something that brought that forward.
Right.
And I think I have a lot more patience and understanding of that now.
Yeah, I guess for me, I too, for a while, I was like, go away, this is mine,
right.
But it isn't. And once I got to that place of recognizing that it wasn't just my loss, and I was able to celebrate the fact that people knew or, were supporting my family and my brother and seeing him for this amazing human that we all saw him as, I was really comforted by that. And there are definitely days where I'm irritated by it too, there's no doubt, but in the big global sense, it's really very comforting. When people are kind, it's very comforting.
Wow. But you're not
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I had, if you can imagine being held up by a world full of prayers,
yeah.
I feel like God thought that I would need that kind of support to be able to get through something like that. And, to have boxes of beautiful handmade quilts and shawls and little items made by kids coming from all over the world, that was just, it's such so loving and so kind and generous, and the generosity of spirit was just beautiful, and that really helped me. I have everything that anybody gave me because I just feel like they're love gifts.
Wow, that's amazing. And you're not the only advocate in your family. You have an older son.
Yes.
And how? Tell us about that.
Sure. He was 12 years old at the time, and he had actually texted me that day when I was waiting at the firehouse. Can I come and wait with you? And he was at the middle school at that time, 12 years old, 7th grade. And of course I thought, sure, come and wait, because when they find Jesse, and they said that, they're still sweeping the school, they're probably hiding in the woods, and I'm thinking, well, of course, Jesse is such a scrappy guy. I'm sure he's got a contingent of kids, and it's going to take him hours to find them. Mm-hmm. So JP was actually in the middle of all that trauma, and we still talk about the trauma of the firehouse. And we were having a hard time for about a month afterwards. JT really hadn't gone back to school. I couldn't make him go back to school. I sent one kid and he didn't come home. I'm not going to, force another kid to go.
Right.
And, the school, I called the school and asked them for help. They said, I don't think you understand. We're traumatized here. There's nothing we can really do. So we were really on our own. And a group of orphan genocide survivors reached out to us from Rwanda and live Skyped with JT through an interpreter, and they shared their personal experiences of when they had their neighbors break through the walls of their home and murder their family by machete in front of them. Oh, it was just incredible. I mean, these young people they had legitimacy in our eyes, because up until then everybody was saying, you're going to be fine, time heals all wounds, and I'm looking at them going, you really have no idea what I'm feeling. I'm not sure I'm going to be okay.
Right.
And so here were people that had gone through maybe even worse than we had and come out the other side. They gave us their equation for healing, which ironically was the exact same that Jesse had left on the kitchen chalkboard: gratitude, forgiveness, and then finding meaning in their suffering and using it to help other people. JT, after that experience, went back to school the next day and decided that he was going to start a fundraising campaign and raise money for those, they're now young adults, to go to university.
Wow.
And within a couple of months, he was able to Skype back to that same group and announce that he had raised enough money to send one of the orphan genocide survivors to university for 1 year, plus an additional amount to help her family, because of course they're orphans now and they live in large family groups, and this woman actually lived in a family group of 9 that could not survive without her portion of the annual income. So JT found all that out, raised the money, and then made a commitment to her that he would raise the additional 3 years, which he has done. He continues to do this through his effort, NewtownHelpsRwanda.org. He has helped former children's soldiers in Uganda build self-sustaining fish ponds. He sponsored 3 little brothers there. He's helped countless kids in the United States who have gone through terrible traumatic experiences. And I've just watched him grow through this experience where I can truly say in the last 2 3/4 years, he has matured so much. I mean, he's so far beyond a 15-year-old in kindness and caring and compassion. And this effort has helped him find meaning in his own suffering and loss of his brother. And so by helping others, he's really helping himself. And I'm so proud of him.
Well, Scarlett, that didn't happen by accident. That's a trickle-down effect from what you have done and the home life that you've created for both of your boys. So it is our pleasure and honor to...
It's a true honor
to have you today and to please say hello to JT for us. And thank you so much for always being so willing to share your story. We're so inspired by you. And people can find out what all of you are doing at the JessieLewisChooseLove.org website, and we'll also put a link up on our site. So thank you, Scarlett, for coming on today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Kim and Jackie.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Take care.
We'll be right back with more Broadscast, more heroes.
Why should you become a Broadscast sponsor? Broad multimedia exposure, including radio, web, iTunes, YouTube, and social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
A quick, easy way to reach your target demo, women. Exclusive, limited time only, affordable introductory rates.
Plus 20 years experience in on-air and online marketing. We produce your one-of-a-kind creative in-house, saving you time and money.
For more on becoming a Broadscast sponsor, visit broadscast.com today.
Best. At Alamo, you're treated to a taste that is truly Mexican, with an atmosphere to match. Enjoy a Cadillac margarita. Try a mucho burrito or sizzling fajitas. Voted in the Signal Best Mexican Food in the SCV and a favorite of Supervisor Mike Antonovich. Alamo Rotisserie in Granary Square. Serving Santa Clarita for over 30 years.
You're listening to Broadscast with Kim Goldman and Jackie McDougall. They're huge in anywhere other than somewhere that you've been before.
Welcome back to Broadscast. We are talking everyday heroes today. And one person who's been honoring everyday heroes through his work and life mission is Sam Silver, and we have him on the line. Sam?
Hi, Jackie.
Yes, and Kim's here as well.
Hi.
Hi, Kim. Hi, Jackie. How are you?
Good.
Doing
How are
well.
you?
Are you on speaker?
Yes, I'm on speaker. You want me to pick up the phone?
Yes,
Yes,
please.
please.
We can hear you better.
All right.
Oh,
That's so much better, so much better. So, Sam, you're from Homes for Heroes, which is a national, you have a local branch of a national initiative happening.
Yes.
And it was created after the tragic events of 9/11 as a way to give back to heroes who protect and serve.
Absolutely. That's exactly how it was created.
And why? What motivated you? I don't want to state the obvious, but tell us how you got involved.
I was involved because I was a veteran. I am a veteran, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the Army, and I was looking for a way to have a purpose for real estate and a way to give back to all those that are heroes in our society, like our teachers, firefighters, law enforcement, EMTs, healthcare professionals, and absolutely the military and the veterans.
And so a portion of the gross commission made on buying and selling homes goes out, but it's not just military members, it's police officers, firefighters, first responders. How does that work?
Well, as a realtor affiliate, I donate 25% of my commission directly back to the hero at closing. It goes in as a credit. And all the Homes for Heroes affiliate lenders also contribute to the Heroes savings. So we do have some lenders, and we have what are called Friends of Heroes that participate in this program as well to give rebates and discounts.
So these affiliates are all around the country, and they have all agreed, they sign up at the site, or how does that work?
They actually can go to the site. They can go to the national site is homesforheroes.com, and the local affiliate site is scvhomesforheroes.com.
Okay. And you've set up a pretty substantial goal of $50,000 to give back, just you personally, which is pretty amazing.
Yes, I would like to give $50,000 back to heroes because nationally we've given over $11 million back to heroes in our communities, and another $2 million has gone back to Homes for Heroes Foundation, which helps the heroes coming back from the war with housing assistance. Maybe they need a down payment for a house, or maybe they just need rent for the month.
So that foundation money is able to cover that. And how do are there a lot of realtors who are jumping on this? Do they feel like they're losing out on their commissions? I mean, it seems like you kind of have a
vested interest.
But I don't know if there are others in the area that are doing the same thing. Are you encouraging others to get involved, or do you kind of?
Yes, there are some others not in this area. I have the exclusive in Valencia area, but there are some others in Lancaster. There's a Homes for Heroes agent in Lancaster. There's some Homes for Heroes in some of the surrounding areas. But they're all across the nation. I talk to Homes for Heroes all over the world, or all over the United States.
And are there ways that others can get involved? I mean, clearly that's when the heroes, go to buy a house or need assistance. But are there other people who, when, maybe not in those positions, but maybe want to help when they're purchasing a house, and they can kind of do the same thing and donate that?
Well, they can, but this is a specific program created through the Homes for Heroes Foundation. Now, Homes for Heroes, they screen all of the prospective realtors and lenders before they're allowed to become part of the program. And all the affiliates go through a deep orientation process. They have really strict guidelines, and it has to be met before being part of the program.
Like, give us an example. What would be the screening? What's the purpose behind that?
Well, the purpose is to make sure that you have people that are going to be are going to answer the call, are going to call them back within 24 hours of a hero going to the Homes for Heroes website.
Oh, got it.
You also want people that have some experience. I have over 13 years of real estate experience, so you want people that aren't just brand new, new kid on the block. Isn't always a good thing, especially when you're dealing with a very sensitive occupations.
Right. And so how did these heroes, what's the mission at this point, to let more heroes know about this program?
Yes, the mission, we have heroes locally, but there's also my mission is to let all our heroes know that this is available, because there are a lot of veterans, teachers, lots of people, when I explain the program, they're like, wow, I've never heard about that, and why haven't I heard about that?
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, we will definitely be putting that on our site, let people find you and find the organization across the country.
And how are you doing with your $50,000 goal?
Well,
is that for just 2015? Or
yes,
yeah,
that's for the year.
Oh, wow. Oh, jeez. So how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. It's a work in progress, like anything else. It takes time to get the word out there.
Right.
Yeah.
I have it. I have a lot of Facebook advertisement I'm doing. I have some other types of advertisement. I advertise on my car.
Mm-hmm. Right. Do you have support from the national organization, or as a local, you're just kind of on your own?
As a local, I'm on my own, and there's also there's a lot of support through the Homes for Heroes corporate. I can call them if I have a question on, say, I'm doing a ribbon cutting, or say I want to do a press release, or any of those type of things. I do get assistance through other Homes for Heroes agents as well as corporate.
That's great. Well, we will definitely put those on our website, right. homesforheroes.com and Homes for Heroes SCV.
No, SCV.
SCV. Oh. SCVHomesForHeroes.com.
Right.
Sam Charlie Victor.
Excellent.
Thank you so much,
Silver,
Sam,
thank you so much. And for what you're doing, we talk about heroes, and for you to honor them every day with your mission and your career. Kim and I were talking before the show about that sometimes we honor people on a specific date, an anniversary, and the fact that you do this on a daily basis, and you've made this, such an important part of your life.
And what a legacy that you get to leave for your daughters.
Absolutely. And we applaud you. Thanks so much, Sam Silver.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, ladies. Have a wonderful day.
You
Thanks,
too.
you too.
Bye-bye. So we only have 2 minutes left of the show, but I have to say, I was concerned a little bit because I don't do sad very well. I mean, I fully admit this all the time.
I cry all the time. I can't even I'm like sniffling off radio.
I don't know how you do this. I mean, just, this is not self-promotion because it's not my book. September 22nd, Media Circus.
Yeah.
I mean, Scarlett's story is just one of 10.
Yeah, it
of
was
these people who've opened up their hearts to you. I could feel the way she talks to you in a way that's so trusting and so honest. I'm really, really excited to read your book and just to kind of see.
So obviously you didn't pre-order it because you would have gotten it yesterday. So there you go. I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding.
Bam!
No, I'm kidding. I really
would have gotten it early.
Yeah. I really appreciate that.
Talk about burying the lead.
Okay,
pre-order the book on Amazon. Where would you like people to order the book?
They can go to my website, KimberlyGoldman.com, or on
KimberlyGoldman.com.
Or
don't tweet her at Kim Goldman on Twitter because that is not her, and that woman is very offended when you tweet at her, even though her Twitter account was created way after you became in the public eye.
You're so funny. We have 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So
KimberlyGoldman.com.
yes, or on Amazon. You can look me up. I have a couple books on
Next
there,
week's All Good Times.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you
so
for
much.
listening. We appreciate you guys being here. Jackie McDougall and Kim Goldman signing off for Broadscast on this lovely Friday.